This is Curtis coming at you from Ace Per Head Studios. Getting into week 2. Spent all week covering week 1. Now we're heading into week 2. And for both teams, the Bills and the Patriots, this is a very big game. And for this community, we have been wonderful to each other. I've seen, fans of different teams be mostly respectful. But now it's going to get heated. I got a lot of Bills fans here. I got a lot of Finns fans here. It's going to be very interesting to see when the fandom clashes. But remember, guys, it's only a game. So, got the Bills versus Dolphins review. Revenge game or more of the same? The whole concept of snap judgments makes for flashy titles, headlines, grabs views. And even though that there's a level of loss of integrity there, the main concern is draw people with something that pops. I try not to do that here. Last week, Allen had a difficult game. The Bills lost 1-8. Many thought they would win. And now it's the talk of, it was just a fluke last year and this and that. And when you really break it down, I think this is hyperbole. This is shock jockery, okay? Now, it might not be, but when you think about it, what did Josh Allen succeed at last year? And that was being blitzed. He was the most blitzed quarterback. I think like 20% was the deal. He destroyed the blitz. So, people want to talk about this and they want to talk about that. But the reality is the Steelers came out a blitz-happy team, and they played zone coverage. They mostly rushed 3 and 4. And I was watching Chris Sims, who really does an excellent job. You might not agree with him, but he provides great content. And I kind of saw some of the stuff he was talking about, but he really opened up some of the things that I did not see. How meticulous and detailed this zone coverage was. And it was only possible because of this excellent pass rush that they had. They had elite pass rushers. This front four was very, very talented. So basically the Bills came in saying, we're going to prepare for being blitzed. Zach Moss, they had a healthy scratch, and they just basically went heavy passing. I'll go through the stats. But the Steelers beat them from a staff, schematic, game plan standpoint. And so Josh Allen now has to realize, okay, the book is zone coverage. So let's see how he responds going forward. Let's see how the team responds going forward. So now you Finn fans, don't feel bad. I started off with the Bills first, okay? I just dug into them first. I'm going to get to you with equal portion. But when I was a kid, when I first started playing football, I was walking down the line, good game. I was like, thinking about daisies or something. I don't know what I was thinking about, but I forgot to say good game. Coach slaps me in the head and says, son, you always congratulate your opponents. So for me, I'm going to go into the Bills first because that's how I was taught and how I played from Pee-wee to when I was like 39, still playing my little flag, trying to get every last drop out. Okay, so I'm going to do the Bills first, but then I'm going to get into the Finns and really make this a full review. But I'm going to just jump in with the Bills first, okay? So I don't really, at this point, I have no concern with Allen. My one concern, though, with the Bills is, will they double down or get smart? Now, the Finns did something really, really interesting. When they played the Patriots, everyone thought, blitz happy, man coverage, and they played heavy zone, okay? And it did throw the Patriots off a little bit. And it now leaves the possibility of them able to play 2 styles of defense, which makes it a lot tougher for teams. And now the Bills have to wonder what kind of defense, what kind of game plan will the Finns bring? Now, the Finns don't have the same meticulous nature of zone the way the Steelers do. At least it doesn't appear that way when I watched last week. But when I go over the Steelers stuff, it's just really detailed. So the Bills are going to have to, wonder. Are they going to just double down and say, no, we're going to make it happen. They're going to blitz. We got to do it our way. Or are they going to adapt? Now, last week, people will say, the Bills' offense was terrible. Really, when you go over the numbers, there are 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers. They ran 52% of their snaps, 41 plays. The NFL average was 57%. Success rate for the Bills last week in 11 personnel was 49%. Success rate in the NFL was 50%. Not terrible. Their zero package, the zero formation, which was 5 wide receivers, they ran 13% of the time, 10 plays. The NFL average was only 3%. They were successful 20% of the time compared to the NFL 23. Their 10 formation, 4 wide receivers was 29%, 23 plays, and the NFL only ran 1% last week. And they had 52% success rate compared to the NFL's 38%. Now the Bills versus Steelers, they had 44% conversion rate on third down. Steelers only 33. They had 370 yards to the Steelers 252. So the Bills played a pretty good game, but there was a few plays. There was a few moments, a handful, that really flipped the game this way to that. So to write the Bills off as a Finns fan or anybody, I think is really foolish. The defense, when I was watching them, they were playing really good. They were making some big plays. The Steelers got a really good defense, and the offense is like, Ben Roethlisberger seems like he's into it half the time, and half the time he's really not, But this is going to be a tough game. And we have to remember, as Finn fans and as Bills fans, we had the revenge. We had the terrible game last year when we had a chance to go to the playoffs. You could write our destiny. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. The Bills have beaten Flores every time he's played them. He's 0-4. And when you go back the last 16 games, the Dolphins have only won 4. Okay, so that's 8 years. And the last time we won was 2018. Okay, and I get this I still write for Finn's News. I still edit over there for them. Jimmy Berman wrote an article, so I'm taking this information from him. That was good. I didn't even know that. I didn't really know that. I took it from him. So I want to get that out there. So the Dolphins have had a very difficult time. And one, quote-unquote, poor game with a brilliant game plan is not enough to write off the Bills or Josh Allen for any team, much less the Miami Dolphins. Okay, so Gabriel Davis, they're not sure is an ankle issue. That could be big for the Dolphins. It could be big for the Bills. Lutalelli, I'm probably butchering his name. I've seen him play. Star Lutalelli. He's iffy. This could be a big deal if the Dolphins decide to run the football. It's funny. The Dolphins wanted to do the Bills. They just didn't want to run the football. I don't know what the deal is with this. So if we don't run the football, it ain't going to really make a difference. But it might if we decide to actually run the football. And we have to remember too, Bills fans, Allen was involved in 59 plays, 51 throwing, or is it 60? I think it's 60. My math kind of sucked. I got to go out to a trampoline park with the kids today. So if my 50-year-old body's excited, scared, and also pressed for time. So I might have did my math poor on that one. But I believe it's 60 plays. 60 plays. Getting hit. And some of those hits were hard. Getting hit on pass rush. Passing the football. It's too much. Less can be more. So I think they're going to, I want them to do poorly. I want you guys to lose. But as an Allen fan, I hope they dial it back. You know what I mean? It's too much. Even for anybody, that can be too much. It's just a lot of plays on him to have to deal with. So if the Dolphins come out and play that zone, okay, and this is what I said prior to the season, you need an element of a run game. If they're going to play zone and do drops and run 4, then you got to run the football because you have the odds. You have 5 linemen against 4 blockers with the runner. That's the odds in your favor. And in fact, instead of some of these like naked draws, you can even have Allen run with the running back being a block, and then you definitely got the odds. And this will force a defense to start playing more honest. And that's the thing. That's the thing for both teams. Last week for the Dolphins and the Bills, they were not trying to make the defenses honest, and they paid for it. They paid for it. Dolphins might have won, but offensively, it was a clunker. Okay? Bills lost, and neither one had a run game. So it's going to be interesting. Now, these two teams going to like kind of figure it out. We need balance. It's going to be interesting. So, again, I have to, like I said, Zach Moss was a healthy scratch. He's a pretty good runner. What are they going to do? And now we'll get to the Finns. The Finns, Austin Jackson's coming back, had a terrible preseason. Hey, maybe he has a great season. Who knows? I mean, who knows? Eichenberg played really well. How are they going to shuffle that offensive line around? But there's a little bit more edge talent with the Bills than there is the Patriots. Okay? If you look at the Bills, they got Jerry Hughes. They got Rousseau. Tremaine Edmonds in the back with Milano. 2 good linebackers, played well. Then inside, Ed Oliver had a very good game despite the loss. They have a nice stack up of defensive line. I think there's more talent there than with the Patriots. And so if we come in with this pass heavy, we really had a terrible passing game last week. I forget, it was like 30% on 3rd down or something. How are we going to handle this? I think it's actually more critical for us Finns to run the football than it is for the Bills, because Bills have Allen. He had a rough start. You say, Tua's done. Tua, he hasn't had his 3 years or his 2 years to have his coming out party. He's had, just barely under a year at this point. And probably, maybe halfway mark, really. So Allen has shown he can run. He's got more physical talent. He's got more experience. So it's not as crucial to support him with the run game as it is for the Finns. Now the Finns, back to the Bills, the Finns have some good talent on the defensive line as well. And I think if the Bills double down, they could be in a little bit of jeopardy. Van Ginkel can play a poor man's TJ Watt. Agba is a very good pass rusher. Now, you have Jalen Phillips, who we drafted. Okay, this is his time to shine. If we're gonna play zone, Jalen Phillips, Van Ginkel, Agba, Wilkins, who's he has some ability to pass rush from the interior. Sealer, Baker, these all very good front 7 pieces that can bring excellent pressure. So if the Bills decide to double down, the Dolphins have assets. And it's not just that front 7. So this is like a jeopardy play for the Bills, and this is also like a bonus round for the Dolphins where you can start building confidence. Needham played really good. Really good. Howard, Jones, obviously. Those are 3 good players. McCourty played really well. Rowe, our rookie Holland. The Dolphins really had the capabilities to play as well as the Steelers as far as talent goes. Now, zone really takes discipline. It takes time to come together. Do we have that like the Steelers? And can we generate that pass rush? We have potential. It's not going to be as equal. TJ Watt is a freak. But there is like a semblance of that. So it's going to be very interesting to see, how does the Dolphins staff play it on defense? How does the Bills staff play it on offense? And that's going to be a very big determinant. And as far as the Dolphins offense versus Bills defense. We talked a little bit about that. But we just found out this week, Fuller, who was supposedly a big piece, a big free agent signing, he's missing this week. And it's a personal reason. But you ask yourself, what kind of personal reason if he deletes his Facebook account? 170-something thousand followers or whatever they call him over there. So this is something more than like, my mom's sick or, somebody in the family had something. This is something else. So he's not going to be here now, and it appears that there could be a possibility that he's not here long term. So Williams is going to be out. So it means we're coming back with Parker and Waddle, Grant, Albert, Hollins. That's going to be our starters, which is the same as week 1. And when you go back and you look, I did this in the last video I did. Our 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver set, which because of all this talent we brought in, we sacrificed other areas to bring all this receiving talent in. Okay, and you only take advantage of that when it's on the field. So 3 wide receiver set is critical for the team building side, because we said, hey, we're bringing all this receiver talent in, and it's not to play 2 wide receiver sets. It's for 3 wide receivers. But last week, we ran it 48% of the time to the NFL 57%. And our success rate was 36 to 50%. So we underachieved in week 1. We're coming in with the same players. There is no cavalry. How are we going to play it? And I talked also in the last video how the Dolphins had like 74% success rate out of 12 personnel. And that's conventional 2 wide receiver, 2 tight end, or 2 running back sets. We exceeded expectations by like 23%. So given last week, and it could change from week to week, our conventional style was far more successful. I did a long video about how I felt Tua was more comfortable and more successful under center, and when a added mix of RPO rather than living off the RPO. When you watch our first drive, it was a very well-designed drive. It opened up with the RPO. We went to some traditional runs, some play action, some RPO rollouts, some play action rollouts, some play action runs. It was like all over the place. It was very difficult. And on the touchdown, the linebacker actually bit on Gaskin. Why did he bite on Gaskin? He had, I put in a video, he had one poor run. It was the poorest run I've ever seen. It was like a wide hole, and he didn't take it. But other than that, he had 49 yards on 9 carries. It was like 5.4 yards per rush. He had another 27 in the air for like 5 receptions, 5 targets, 5 receptions. You saw he broke a couple tackles. That was another 5 yards per. He averaged 75 yards on the day for 14 touches with a 5.4 per. That's good. Why wasn't he getting the ball more? I think that, they're going to have to go back and look at that and say, you know what? We try to make Tua the focus. Let's take some of that off the table. Just like with Allen, I think the Bills need to take some of it off the table. I think the Dolphins need to be more diverse. Stop these. I couldn't stand those one-read RPOs. Man, it's terrible. It's not good. I just like, how do you do that? I just really, it like freaked me, man. So I'm praying that the Dolphins will be more run-centric. It's a little dicey because Jackson can't really run block. But, to that extent, Kinley couldn't run block last year, and he was poor in preseason, but he had a really good game. I misread that. A bunch of people were saying Kinley played well, and I was wrong. My initial reaction, I think PFF posted their results, and he had like a 32 pass blocking grade and like a low run blocking grade. But then like the next day, when they put out the official stats, they was like double. So I kind of like remembered a few plays that he was involved in, some poor plays, some plays that were like poor design. And I was wrong about Kinley. Kinley played well, Actually, Hunt was very poor in run blocking. So, what's going to go on with that? Run blocking is going to be essential. And then there's Tua. That's the last piece. I firmly believe in Allen. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to have a season like last year. I'm not going to say he's going to be generational. I still believe he could be. I do. But at a certain level, he's proven enough that he is at least a good quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, there's no doubt about that. Well, some people might think they're great, but there's good. But Tua, on the other hand, is still in that I'm forging my image, forging my destiny for what the floor is. And in preseason, I did a lot of tape. His mechanics looked good. He looked comfortable. And somebody else, I got to start writing these names down. I got hit in the head too much. But he brought up a good point that in preseason, there's really nothing on the line. But now in regular season, you get tight because it's serious. And when you look at Tua's mechanics, it was phenomenal. Like a huge, vast improvement. I figured it was all health. And he looked good. But then come week 1, it was all his drops, his footwork, his mechanics. The consistency was not there, and it broke down a lot. And I went over a lot of tape about that. What's Tua going to do week 2? Is it mental? And if it is, the good news is it could be fixed, can be fixed. Doesn't mean will, but can. I think there's a lot of room for this kid to grow. I definitely have some concerns, But again, why put so much on him? It goes back to the concept of building the framework, setting him up for success. This is what we did with Tannehill. Brought him in, said, we want this guy, even though he's not this guy. You carry the load. And it didn't go well. I think they need to dial it back. Let the team, the defense win. If you're going to play defense football, conservative football, run it. Attack the middle of the field, run some play action, and drop it over the linebackers, something. Do some slants. I mean, we opened up with an RPO slant. The Waddle was good. And then we waited till the fourth quarter with a slant. Like, why are we not attacking different parts of the field? Why isn't that a more conventional system? Why are we putting so much on this kid? Let it develop. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will. I don't know. That's my take. I'm a nobody, but that's my take. So anyway, Bills versus Dolphins. It's going to be very tough for the Fins, but it could be a lot easier if the Bills decide to double down. Really enjoy both Bills fans for this community and my Fins fans. You guys have all been respectful. I think this is going to be a good game. Someone's going to be unhappy. If the Bills go 0-2, that's going to be a hole for them to climb out of. It's not an insurmountable hole. If the Dolphins lose, then some of that, and it could bring some bad mojo, where fans start getting restless if it's a poor performance. If it's a tight game, whatever. So just remember, community, this is about football. It's about fun. We all want to win. We don't win. Only one team wins a year. So I hope you enjoyed. A lot of food for thought. Guys, pray for me as I bounce on these trampolines that I don't break my neck. I'm old now, but I got young kids. I started late. Anyway, thank you for staying to the end. This is Curtis. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Comments, love the comments. Keep answering them. Keep learning from them. Keep laughing. Keep getting encouraged. I really, really appreciate that, man. Really, really do. I really believe in conversation, like the old days, being at the bar. Sitting in the bar, talking to each other, eating some wings. And those are the good old days. We don't got it much anymore. Anyway, thank you. Comments and the subscribes and the likes, the analytics, that keeps us in business. And I want to give a shout out to Ace Per Head, our sponsor, the best sponsor in the world. They want to let you know through their world-class software, you can be your own local bookie, take action with your friends, family, coworkers, schoolmates, anyone to just get involved in all that's going on, and they're the best. And again, nothing would happen without them. Thank you. Catch you next time. This is Curtis. Be well.